Okay, and we are live. ¿Qué tal, amigos? Stuart here from Spain Speaks with this evening's live stream. It is 7:35 p.m., the 13th of April 2025, and as always, going to look at some of the main stories that have caught my attention in the press today in Spain, and some comments that have been left on the channel in recent times by viewers. In the second half of the live stream, we'll go into the live chat that I have here on the screen. Check out what is happening there. So if you are in the live stream, watching the live stream tonight in the chat room, say hello there. Now, we'll get straight into the news, and as we know, Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez has recently been to China, strengthening ties between the two countries. We saw last week that Mr. Sánchez and Chinese leader Xi Jinping, great friends, bosom buddies, I think they were called by the Chinese ambassador in Madrid, and Sánchez there, as I said, strengthening those ties. But not everyone is in favor of the closening relationship between the two countries. As we can see here, is China a strategic ally of Spain? Differing views between Sánchez and the EU. Prime Minister, the debate over whether China is a strategic ally of Spain has resurfaced following Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez's visit to Beijing. While Sánchez has emphasized partnership and cooperation with China, aligning with President Xi Jinping on a strategic and win-win relationship, the European Union views China more cautiously. The EU defines China as a complex entity, a partner, competitor, and systemic rival. This reflects growing concerns in Brussels over China's authoritarian governance, trade imbalances, and global influence. Economically, China was Spain's fourth largest trading partner in 2024, but the relationship is heavily imbalanced. Spain imports 45 billion euros and exports just 7.5 billion euros, creating a significant trade deficit. Sánchez seeks to attract Chinese investment in sectors like renewable energy and tourism, while pushing for better access for European goods in the Chinese market, an issue also at the heart of EU-China tensions. The visit highlights a gap between Spain's bilateral enthusiasm and the EU's strategic caution. So there we go. The relationship between Spain and China, not all that well seen in the eyes of the European Union, because China, of course, is a rival, and all of the trade imbalances that China has, no doubt, with many countries in the European Union, not only Spain, one of the big issues that we have here. But of course, Mr. Sánchez wants those Chinese dollars, or whatever the Chinese currency is, coming into the Spanish economy, whether it be electric car plants, whether it be other type of electric energy, or renewable energy, I should say, coming into Spain, getting the investment, getting the plants, and all of the infrastructure, the Chinese infrastructure on the ground in Spain. That is what Mr. Sánchez wants. And as we have seen in the past, what Mr. Sánchez wants, he normally gets. You can say that about the Spanish Prime Minister, that is for sure. Now, second piece of news here, and we can see that the Guardia Civil's UCO, or the Guardia Civil, the Civil Guard in Spain, fits together the pieces of corruption surrounding Sánchez. Spain's Civil Guard UCO unit, or the special unit, I would say, is piecing together a growing corruption case potentially linked to Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez. Businesswoman Carmen Pano testified to the Supreme Court that she delivered 90,000 euros to the PSOE headquarters without personal gain, backing up claims by alleged fixer Victor de Aldama, who said he had frequent contact with the government house Moncloa since 2019, was reportedly close to Sánchez. The investigation also involves Santos Cerdán, current party organizer, and former minister José Luis Ábalos, key in building Sánchez's leadership, but now under scrutiny. A shadowy incident involving Venezuelan Vice President Delcy Rodriguez adds fuel to the fire. Despite being banned from the EU, she was received secretly at Madrid airport by Avalos with Aldama present. The moment was filmed by Colo Garcia, a controversial figure once praised by Sanchez and now implicated in multiple scandals. The case paints a troubling picture of political ties, backroom dealings, and unanswered questions. So the Civil Guard unit, the specialist branch of the Civil Guard here in Spain, tightening the investigation around Mr. Sanchez and his collaborators. This story, of course, nothing new, but more and more news coming to light as parts of the investigation reach the press, especially the shady dealings involving an airline in Spain, Air Europa, and also the visit of that Venezuelan leader back during COVID days when everyone was locked in their homes, the government doing deals at Barajas, or Spain's main airport in central Madrid, with the Venezuelan government. So we'll see what is at the bottom of this investigation and whether it brings down the government. But they're taking their time. And as we have seen, Mr. Sanchez, almost like a Teflon surface on him, very, very hard for anything to stick to him personally, even though people around him come crashing down. Third piece of news here, in heavy rains in Lanzarote cause over 300 incidents due to flooding in homes, businesses, and hotels. Lanzarote experienced a dramatic transformation after intense rains from Storm Oliver triggered severe flooding, leading to over 300 reported incidents across the island. The worst hit areas were Arrecife and Costa Teguise, where up to 100 litres of rain per square metre fell in just a few hours. The government of the Canary Islands had declared a state of emergency as homes, shops and hotels suffered major damage. Around 3,000 residents were left without power, although electricity is gradually being restored, while the sun returned the next day, allowing emergency workers and locals to begin cleanup. The previous day saw chaos. Streets turned into torrents, cars were swept away or overturned, and emergency services struggled to reach those in need. A driver recounted the panic, thankful to have saved his vehicle. The storm exposed the island's vulnerability to extreme weather, marking a stark contrast to its usual calm and touristic appeal. So, yet another part of Spain hit by torrential rains, severe flooding, 300 incidents on the island of Lanzarote, the capital city, Arrecife, and also the popular tourist resort Costa Teguise, just up the road from the capital city, of course, struggling to handle so much rain falling in such a short amount of time. And as we saw there, cars being swept away, people needing to be rescued, and other services crashing down. For example, the electricity supply to some parts of the island. I was in that part of Spain, the Canary Islands, what was it, 3 months ago now, maybe 2 months ago now, a beautiful part of the country, and of course, all that changed yesterday with that severe flooding. But things getting back to normal there, but another case of severe flooding affecting a part of Spain. This time not the mainland, but the Canary Islands, and struggling to cope with such heavy amounts of rain. Lanzarote, the island. And the final piece of news: Spanish cities deflate the cycling boom. Few bike lanes, declining sales and fewer users. Spain's post-pandemic cycling boom is losing momentum as urban cycling declines across the country. Cities like Madrid, Valladolid and Barcelona have seen growing frustration among cyclists due to the removal of bike lanes, rising insecurity on roads and an increase in bike thefts. Data shows a nearly 10% drop in frequent urban cyclists over the past 2 years, according to the 2023 Bicycle Barometer. Contributing factors include poor infrastructure, a lack of investment in cycling, limited public support, and impunity for thefts. Although bicycles remain the most sold vehicles in Spain, outselling cars by nearly 100,000 units, the trend is slowing. Sales have fallen for the third consecutive year from over 1.5 million units in 2020 and 2021 to 1.1 million units in 2024. The average price of a standard bicycle is now €1,167, with electric models averaging €2,555. Despite early enthusiasm, Spain is struggling to build lasting support for everyday urban cycling. So that is what cyclists in Spain are dealing with, infrastructure being removed for cyclists. The boom of 2021, 2022, 2023, when of course COVID made people go crazy for bicycles in Spain. Couldn't buy a bicycle in Spain there for a couple of years because they were selling faster than the proverbial hotcake. But of course, that trend is dying down, and politicians not stepping up to the game, stepping up to the party either, with the infrastructure needed to improve this type of transport in Spanish cities. I'm always amazed when I travel to a lot of cities around Spain, as you guys know I do frequently, and you see quite evidently the lack of infrastructure. And even in big cities like Madrid, riding bicycles is still not a safe thing to do in many parts of the city because there are no separate bike lanes. Sometimes the bike lane is just another lane of the road. You have to share it with buses and other transport like taxis. So still not safe in big cities like Madrid and some other cities as well. Some cities have improved, but the majority no, and it is a real problem for cyclists or even fans of cycling like myself, who would like to see more people getting around on bicycles because I consider it a fantastic way to get around. Not sure if you do. Let me know if that is the case in the comment section, but I love cycling, whether it's on a traditional bike, which are quite expensive, as we just saw there. The average price of bikes over €1,100, I think was the figure there. Just let me go back and see. Yes, sir. 1,167, and of course if you want to get an e-bike, you're looking at over 2,000 or €2,500 for an e-bike currently. So expensive. Now we're going to go into the comment section, check out what has been happening there in recent times. We'll see what is bubbling away in the comment section. Lots of activity, of course, in recent times because of various things that have been posted. This one here from Lois. Good for Sanchez, good for the EU. We need good relations to aid Spanish businesses sell abroad. Thanks, Lois. We can see the comment obviously referring to Spain's relationship with China and Mr. Sanchez trying to do deals, get more Spanish products into the Chinese market, of course. There is a huge trade imbalance. I don't think that will ever be fixed because, as we know, those products come out of China in great numbers and flood markets all over the world. But Lois, they're in favor of closer relations with China and also more products, more Spanish products entering the Chinese market. Maybe Spanish wine can go to China. Not sure if it does already. I presume that it does. Spanish ham, I have heard, is a big one. Lots of people, lots of Chinese getting their hands on Spanish ham, the delicacy that is Spanish ham, and other Spanish products, of course. But as I mentioned, the trade imbalance exists and not easy to improve, as we know, with the Chinese. That's the question, right? Another one here from Jay Tang. At least China is respectful and isn't saying that 70 countries are kissing Trump's own words. Thanks, Jay Tang, for that. Yeah, we saw Mr. Trump. Those were the words that he used the other day. They're lining up to kiss my ass. That's what I think he said. And let's be honest, I think Mr. Trump sometimes could probably tone down the language that he uses. This smugness that he seems to be quite commonly putting out there, and quite easy to get people off off, I was going to say, to get people offside, which I think is the case here. And yeah, so even if that's what you think, maybe you should keep those comments to yourself, because people don't like that type of thing. And yeah, but this person here saying that at least China is respectful and isn't saying that. You could debate that, of course, whether China is respectful. But again, that person there seems to think that it is. So I'll leave it there. Let me know what you think in that comment section below, as we always do, or in the chat section. Thank you. One here from Slimy. Sanchez needs to go before he destroys the country. This person here, obviously not a fan of Mr. Teflon, Mr. Handsome Pedro Sanchez. He needs to go before he destroys the country. Well, he's been at it now since 2018. So what are we in 2025? That's 7 years. And he's got 2 more years to go on his mandate. So he needs to go. If you listen to Mr. Sanchez, I think he's planning for another 4 years after 2027. Seems to think he'll be able to get the support. And let's be honest, the opposition in Spain is a pretty weak bunch at the moment. They don't seem to know they don't seem to know how to be in opposition. A lot of people could argue, and of course they have their own problems on the right side of politics, with the radical party Vox taking votes from them. So it'll be an interesting time, 2027, but the way Mr. Sanchez is going, I can see him being re-elected for another 4 years. What will happen after those 4 years, if that indeed is the case, I've got no idea. Maybe there could be a change to the right nationally in Spain, but as I said, I don't think the current government that the current opposition party, which couldn't hold the proverbial piss up at a brewery, I don't think, are shaping up to be government anytime soon. But again, just my opinion and some of the thoughts from people that I speak to regularly in Spain, Mr. Feijóo and company. If you disagree, let me know in the comment section there also. One here from Maria. I always said Spain will eventually join the BRICS group of nations. Thanks, Maria. Don't know whether that will happen or not, whether Spain will go down that path. I think inside the European Union, Spain is limited to what they can do, the agreements that they can hold with other countries. Of course, the European Union is the main trading bloc. Spain forms part of it. And we saw some of the doubts that the EU has when it comes to China. But it's interesting times we are living. And but joining the BRICS group of countries, of course, Russia, China, Brazil, India, I think is there as well. The other one, South Africa, maybe, I'm not sure. Can't see Spain going down that line anytime soon. But Mr. Trump, of course, thought that Spain was part of the BRICS group of nations, or at least that was what he said. Sometimes it's not easy to know what he means to say and what he actually does say, but he did say that, I think, a couple of months ago, I think, when he was first taking office. Another comment here from Donal. As new to Spain from the US, I'm amazed at the number of smokers here. It's a future health crisis for Spain in the making. Thanks, Donal, for the comment. A lot of people would agree with you that the number of smokers in Spain is amazing. You'll always see people puffing away outside schools. There was a complaint laid formally, I think, the other day about people smoking outside hospitals, which is still something quite common. People come down from visiting relatives or whatever they're doing, doctors or nurses, and puffing away outside, which is illegal. Also illegal to smoke outside schools, but people still do it in children's areas, in parks, playgrounds, and things like that. And when you go to a bar or restaurant and sit outside, you'll soon realize that a lot of people that are sitting around you are smoking cigarettes. And by the amount of tobacco shops all around the country, yep, Spain is a country of smokers. So thanks, Donald, for that. Another one here from GAR. Chinese food can be great, but as you said, whether it's pigeon or any other meat, you need to know if it's safe. Back in London years ago, one restaurant had cats on the menu, until local authorities found out. Thanks for that, GAR. There's always been rumors about Chinese restaurants having certain things on the menu. Of course, we're living times where Chinese are again going to be under threat by some of these rumors floating around. But there was a case the other day of a restaurant in Madrid. Somebody left a comment in the chat section. I didn't really know what it was referring to until somebody sent me an email later that day saying that a restaurant in Madrid had been caught using pigeons instead of duck for the Peking duck, and the punters were munching away on pigeons instead of ducks until they were caught. Of course, this article was circulating in the Spanish press as well, not only the international press. Apparently it wasn't, from what I understand, it wasn't a restaurant that was open to the public. It was one of these kitchens that seems to operate on the food apps. A lot of restaurants don't actually have service for customers. They just operate solely through these apps. I think that was the case with this restaurant here. Not sure, don't quote me on that, but I think I saw that mentioned in the article. A lot of these stories have popped up over the years about the mystery surrounding not only Chinese food, but other aspects of Chinese in Spain as well. But I'll leave it there. But if anybody wants to check that article out, they'll be able to find it quite easily in the press. Pigeons being served up instead of duck in the Chinese restaurant. Thanks, Donald. We saw that one. And the final one here from Roy's Garage. I went to a restaurant in Playa Flamenca and they said cash only. I said I would have to pay to draw money out of the bank. The response was, we will discount that from the bill. Not like Italy, the waiter said we will reduce the bill by 20 euros, but you must pay the full amount. Happens everywhere. Thanks for that. This was a conversation that I had the other day with Mark, who collaborates with me on some videos every now and again. And he went to a restaurant in Malaga somewhere, probably where he lives, in Fuengirola. And it was one of these cash-only businesses, which we're surprised to see still exist in Spain. He mentioned that also a lot of people still paying their rent, their monthly rent, in cash to the landlords. So cash is king in some parts of Spain still, and other restaurants around the country still only accepting cash and not cards. And cash is one of those subjects that also stirs up great debate. I saw it in the comment section, people saying cash, we love cash, always use cash, it's the best form of currency, the best way to pay for things. Other people don't want the hassle of dealing with cash anymore. They just want to tap and go, whether it be with their phone or with a card or with their watch, as you see people doing nowadays quite frequently. People don't want to have to deal with cash. But I'm still surprised that businesses, successful businesses, still are not accepting credit cards. For whatever reason, I've got no idea. You can get a little bit suspicious when you see restaurants doing this, thinking that maybe they're not paying their full whack when it comes to tax. I don't know. But in 2025, to not be able to pay by card, or at least have the choice, I think that's what you need to give customers nowadays. When I went to Australia a couple of years ago, it seemed to be the opposite. People weren't taking cash in some places that I went to. Cash was an inconvenience for them. But in Spain, we're still the other way around. So there we go. Cash still king in some parts of Spain. Now, time to go into the live chat. As I normally do. I can't change the backdrop, or at least I don't think I can. I've been fiddling around with the system here, and I've realized that I can change the backdrop, but I haven't got a viewer's photo, but I've got a picture that I took of the Costa Teguise the last time that I was in the Canary Islands. We can see it on the background there, even though it's a little bit blurred. This was taken back in February when I went to the Canary Island of Lanzarote. So it looks as though that I can put people's photos on the backdrop. So if you have a picture that you would like to see on the backdrop, the email address is on the screen right now, spainspeaks@gmail.com. There we go. I don't have the same way to put it up without my face in the middle of it as I do in Madrid. or at least I don't think I have. So I can't change that aspect of it, but at least I can get something else on the backdrop today and see what the Costa Teguise looks like when it's not flooded. And I will say that it is a fantastic part of Spain, the Costa Teguise, Lanzarote in general, one of the great tourist destinations in the Canary Islands. And if you haven't been there yet, check it out. But obviously when it's not too hot, spainspeaks@gmail.com. Send those pictures through if you can. Now the like icon is also on the screen just down there. So we're currently sitting at 80 likes. We'll see if we can get up to a decent tally, maybe crack the ton today. So if you haven't hit the like icon yet, please do so. Below the video, you will find it. If you're watching on a television, you'll probably have to go into the settings there somewhere to find the like icon, but it should be easy to find. So hit the like icon if you haven't done so yet. Currently sitting at 81 likes. Let's see if we can get up to a decent tally, as I said. People that have supported the channel in recent times, whether it's on the super thanks option here on YouTube. I saw a couple of super stickers or super chats come through, so I'll get to those in just a moment. People that have bought me a coffee in recent times too. Harry bought me a coffee just before the live stream today. Harry from Scotland. So thanks, Harry, for that. And also the longer term supporters on Patreon, thank you very much for that support. And also the channel members of the YouTube channel here. The latest channel member to come on board is Marlene, I think. Let me see if I can find it. Here it should be. Marlene is the latest person to join as a member of the YouTube channel. So thank you very much for that, Marlene. And thank you for supporting the channel Spain Speaks. Thank you very much for that. Now I'm going to go into the chat. I've just got a warning pop up on the screen that there's a bit of a problem with the live stream tonight. It says the bit rate is a little bit low, too much. But of course, in this different location here, I'm not in my usual location with my usual internet connection, so that could have been an issue. And if it is an issue, I apologize for that. James and Kathy coming in, first person that I can see here, coming in from Worcester, enjoying a nice drop of Albert in your wine with the roast chicken dinner. Weather's been glorious there, but changes on the way with showers forecast. Thanks for that, guys. Good to see you. John, valued members in the chat, hoping the weekend is going well. Thanks, John. Harry, the person that I just mentioned who gave a live chat, is here too. Good to see you, Harry. Hope all is going well where you are. Just back from Spain, the Sardanero area of Santander. My wife is from Valencia and even went for a dip. Won't wait so long to visit again. Thanks, Harry, for that. Good to see that you enjoyed that great part of Spain, which is the north there, Santander. Amanda coming in from Shropshire in the UK. Let's get that one on the screen. There we go. Andrew is in the chat too, valued member also. Good evening, Stuart and all from a chilly but sunny London southeast. Hope you're having a good weekend. Thanks for that. So far, so good, I will say. Brad's in the chat. Good evening, people. Muy buenas. Good to see you, Brad. Al's in the chat too, valued member, coming in from El Puerto de Santa Maria. Cities full of families for Semana Santa. The restaurants and bars are full. Cruz Campo is flowing. Thank you very much for that. What else we got going on here? Larry's coming in from La Palma, down there in the Canaries also. Tazacorte to be exact there. Kevo's coming in from Alcobendas, still waiting for the TV not to announce another storm, running out of alphabet by April. Mad. True, Kev, the storms have been coming thick and fast in recent times. And we saw the result in Lanzarote, unfortunately. Coming in broken. Yeah, that was the problem with the internet connection, Al. There's not much I can do about it, unfortunately. The internet connection, I should be okay now. It should be okay now, but as I said, I apologize for the inconvenience to the live stream today with the breakups, but what can we do? Simon had another turbot this weekend with roasted lemons and garlic. Unfortunately, the wife's going back to the UK to welcome their third granddaughter, so unsupervised for the next 2 weeks. Unfortunately, Simon, your wife heading back, you're going to be on your own. Let's hopefully things don't get too out of control down there with you. Chinese crested, hello from Thailand. Hot there. Rainy season is gone. Stephen's a valued member too, coming in from a mild North London. Spent the weekend in Helsinki where they have snow. Looking forward to getting back to Torrevieja next month. Bit of a difference between the two, of course. Victoria, valued member also in the chat. Hope everyone has had a great weekend. What else we got going on? Sure, the man coming in from Kildare, and thanks for all that I do here. You're welcome, Cher. Good to see you in the chat. Hope I'm enjoying Portugal. I am, Al, enjoying Portugal. Always good to be here, of course, where the weather's quite mild at the moment. Before the summer hits and all of the tourists arrive, but I will say that it is quite busy. I think tourism here has become a 12-month thing also. Lots of people from the north of Europe practicing or learning how to surf, I should say. Athers were here in North Tenerife. The rain has been torrential there. Can't recall such weather this time of year. Been there for 22 years. Yesterday, terrible. Yeah, we saw that the damage done on Lanzarote, right? Cycling to Santander is hope all that goes well for you. Went to the doctor to get the temperature check. When he pulled it back of me out, it read. When he pulled it back out of me, it read wet and windy. Thanks, John, for the joke there. Pete, we've got a super chat, I think, from Pete, $5, contributing to the trade imbalance here. LOL, thanks for that. Yeah, many trade imbalances around the world, as we know, especially when it comes to China. Gigi's in the chat, valued member from a hot and sunny Surprise, Arizona. Antonio's in the chat as well. Yesterday I thought of you. I took the subway line 9 to Arganda. I hadn't taken a subway for many years. I thought the subway in Madrid is just amazing, clean, fast and modern. I loved it. Yes, Arganda, not far away from where I live in Madrid, of course. It's the next stop along that line 9. Taco Head. The issue with the decrease of bike lanes is a demographic issue. Locals are aging and new migrants, expats don't bike as much as the previous generation. That could be one reason. Max, politicians don't bring on weather chaos. I am sure that Sanchez is doing his best. It's a thankless task trying to fix the mess Trump is making. Thanks, Max, for that. Antonio agrees with the smokers in Spain. It's annoying walking in the streets, and some smokers always keep you smoke. I imagine you're surrounded by smoke when walking around. Nasty, says Antonio. Yeah, I'm still surprised. Obviously, you'll never eradicate smoking. It's an impossible task. Some countries have tried, but I don't think they have been very successful. If you push the price of cigarettes up like they have done in Australia to make it prohibitive, the black market takes over, and now they have a thing called tobacco wars in Australia where tobacco shops are being blown up by gang members. Tobacco keeps flowing in from overseas. I think it's coming in from the Middle East and places like that. Of course, very, very cheap prices, so the government can't win on their war against tobacco down there. And in Spain, where it's still a fairly cheap thing to do, that is buy a packet of cigarettes. What do you pay? 5-6 euros, I think, for a packet of cigarettes. So it's very difficult to stop smoking. But, yep. It'll be an issue for the health system in a few years' time if it isn't already. Super sticker here from SD. Pair character exaggeratedly, I think that word is, stretching his arm forward and offering a cup of coffee. I can't see the exact character, but that's what I get written on the screen. That's what I get written on the screen here. Thank you very much for that support of the channel. $3.99. Antonio saying, after the Spanish Civil War, 36 to 39, Madrid cats were sold as rabbits to eat. There were no cats on the streets of Madrid. There we go. Back after the Civil War, people were hungry, looking for things to eat, and the cats. With regard to smoking, says Simon, I was a bit surprised to hear that under 16s legally smoke with their parents in the cars. Not sure where that is, Simon, but I do know that the younger generations have also taken to cigarettes, or at least the young people that I see around me on a daily basis, puffing away. Marcus is in the chat, valued member. I think El País is shopping for bicycles in much more upmarket places than I do. Those average prices seem to be about double what I'm seeing for decent two-wheelers. I think they were talking average prices there, Marcus. And what I have noticed in Madrid is that people seem to spend a lot of money on bicycles. I see bicycles rolling around, the 5,000-6,000 euro mark. Carbon frames or whatever the latest technology is, and so that obviously brings the average up. Of course, you can get bicycles for less than 1,000 euros, 400, 500, 600. You can get e-bikes for under 1,000 euros nowadays. I've got one sitting at home that I was given to make a video about. I think it's around 1,000, or when it's on special, 900 and something euros. So you can get them cheaper, but I think that was the average price that they were talking about there. Alex saying that smokers are usually selfish people. When walking down the street, they just blow a chimney-like smoke to everyone in their vicinity. It's also disgusting when eating outside. A lot of people would agree with you there, Alex. People who don't want cash have no imagination, says Lily, on the cash versus card debate. Cats on the menu, get real racist. Yeah, that's what that is suggesting. But of course, the pigeons was all over the press. Is it racism, Brad? I've got no idea, but of course, that article did make the press. Patricia, hello from Tenerife. We've had lovely streets wash there. Badly needed to wash away the doggy odours. Town hall has given up regular street washing. Mind you, they're swept 24/7 by an army of lady sweepers. Thanks, Patricia, down there. Yes, there are heavy rains hitting there. Live stream a bit ropey. Yep, should be okay now. But I had some technical issues, as I normally do when I come here, just because of the internet connection. Sometimes it switches from one to another for some reason, and one of them is quite weak when it comes to speed. So not much I can do about that. But hopefully for Tuesday's live stream, there should be no issues. John coming in from rainy Alcazares in Murcia. Kathy saying here, it's the expensive charges, Stuart, on the machines businesses that can't afford it or hate to pay such an extortionate tariffs. Love the show. Yeah, but it's all about doing business, I think, Kathy, and you can always put that extra charge into the prices. Some places that I've seen are expensive places. They're not cheap by any means, and they're only accepting cash. So for me, that's taking the P155. Because, as I said, you can include the charges. The bank prices nowadays are not all that exorbitant, I don't think. They might have been a few years ago, but I think they have become more competitive. I could be wrong, but that's what I believe. And as I said, you can include that into the prices in your restaurant or in your bar. And so really give people a choice. And maybe if they pay cash, give people a discount. So put 10% discount for cash or something, but give people an option. Give people an option, because even getting cash out nowadays, if you can't find your bank ATM, you're going to get smacked as well. Andrew saying here, many bars in Benidorm have stopped accepting credit cards this month. The greedy banks are charging extortionate fees for handling card payments. Maybe they've gone up, I don't know. But as I said, you can include that into the prices, of course. That's why madrileños are called gatos, maybe, says Alex there. And Sandoval saying that the yuan is the currency. If you don't want to know, it's fine too. There we go. Thanks, Sandoval, for that. But I presume that when the Chinese are doing business on a global scale, they might be dealing in dollars, I presume. And well, you see is saying hi, simply hi. Now I'm going to wrap the live stream up. It's been a pleasure as always. Again, I'll apologize for those technical issues that we had there at the beginning. They should have been sorted out by the end of the live stream. So hopefully on Tuesday we won't have the same issues. Until then, hasta luego. Adiós. I seem to be forgetting the Spanish language. Hasta luego. Adiós. Hasta el jueves o hasta el martes. Adiós.